The Rep series is something that Stephen started 2 years ago. It's where we bring one group of people together to do multiple shows rehearsing at the same time. We try to work in both professional and community actors to do that. And with this year, we have Gross Indecency rehearsing during the day with the professionals, and then we bring in a huge part of the community for Man of No Importance. Importance of Being Earnest is all community cast, which we're really excited about.
It's a little crazy. It's difficult for me to show up off book, which a lot of actors can do, but for some reason it's just much easier for me. You know, I get familiar with the script, I read it over and over, but as far as memorizing, I like to do it once we've started the rehearsal process, which makes it a little more difficult when you're doing 2 shows. You know, and I thought, oh, 12 to 4 and then 6 to 10 every day, that's not bad, I can do that. I get a 2-hour break in the middle, but it's more taxing than you think it's gonna be.
You were good tonight, Carney. You're right. I was damn good. You butcher, busman, clerk, there's just one line of work that makes...
It's a lot. I felt like a zombie by the end. I truly felt like my brain couldn't hold any more information. There was just so much happening upstairs in my brain. With the different dialects especially, having to go back and forth from English to Irish. They don't sound that similar, I guess, when you're doing them right. But when you're learning them, it's the vowel shifts of different things. And when you're tired after 8 hours of rehearsals, you forget which accent you're even speaking in. So a lot of my lines would end up being spoken in 2 different accents. It was my Bosie line that I would speak in proper British at the beginning, and then it turned into Irish, and it took me a long time to break out of the habit. But it used to sound like this. It would say, I can stay there as long as I like without paying my bill, which is a good thing as I am quite penniless. So it would start out in this weird Irish mix. I can stay there as long as I like without paying my bill, which is a good thing as I am quite penniless. So it like shifted in the middle, and I couldn't make it not happen. So there were a lot of lines in rehearsals where I would just say them in whatever accent came out because I was getting kind of frustrated at myself. But that's part of the process. Is once those clouds started clearing, I noticed everything was like settling into place.
Putting up a full musical and a very wordy play is tough, but it's extremely rewarding to be able to play 2 totally different characters, a real extrovert, flamboyant, high society type, and Alfie, who's a middle-class bus conductor in Ireland. It's and 2 accents, and it was quite a thing.
Oscar Wilde, he was a huge playwright for Restoration comedy in the 1800s. He talked about class and what you were supposed to behave like if you were in the lower class, and how you should behave if you're in the upper class, and how you should feel and how you should think. And he started writing shows giving a commentary on that, and how just because you're rich doesn't mean you are this certain way, or just because you're poor doesn't mean you're this way. And he kind of set a new standard for how theater was written. And he led this really great life of just trying to give people a chance within his work, and then was put on trial for being homosexual, which is what Gross Indecency is all about. And he became this really important icon, not only for theater, but for the homosexual community as well.
The issues that are being dealt with in these shows are still happening today. Not just specifically the fact that it's dealing with gay issues, but just acceptance in general.
The world is growing more tolerant. One day you will be ashamed of your treatment of me.
He wanted to share his views on art and what his personal life brings to that. And so he promotes his personal life through his art, but it wasn't to promote his personal life. It was to use himself and use what he knows to provide a sense of beauty.
You say that he is the divine thing you want. Is that a decent way to address a young man?
It is a beautiful way to address a young man.
He's not like William Shakespeare where everybody knows him and everybody knows his story and everyone knows his works, but Oscar Wilde is just as important. This series not only showcases a piece of his life in several different aspects, but a piece of his work that has become iconic. The Rep series, it's the full picture as to what Oscar Wilde really means.
Wherefore can I not send thee to hell? And for what reason?
Because in hell I have always lived.
Answered the man. And there was silence in the house of judgment. And after a space, God spake, and said to the man,
Then surely I will send thee unto heaven. Even unto heaven will I send thee.
And the man cried out.
Thou canst not.
God said,
Wherefore can I not send thee unto heaven? And for what reason?
Because never, and in no place, have I been able to imagine it.
Answered the man. And there was silence in the house of judgment.
Theater's purpose is community, and it's all inclusive. And if you see any kind of art and it makes you think, whether you're thinking positively or negatively, that's the purpose. And so I think what these shows will bring to the community is thought and conversation. So I think when people will leave these shows, they will have discussions about what art is, and do you think Oscar Wilde was right in this sense or wrong in this sense, or do you think art can be moral or immoral?
I treated art as the supreme reality and life as a mere mode of fiction.
I follow along with Oscar Wilde and what he stated. I think art is art in and of itself. It is just a thing. I think the only way it becomes immoral or moral is through the eyes of whoever's viewing it or experiencing it. So that encompasses just our life experiences, how we were raised, our beliefs, everything. And so I think it's both. And neither. Art is both immoral and moral because different people view it as such, but in a sense it's neither because it is just its own entity.
The books that the world calls immoral are the books that show the world its own shame. That's a quote from Gross Indecency. I don't even know if I need to say anything more than that. We, humans, we don't like to admit it to ourselves, but we have immoral thoughts all the time. I think art is something that can show us how to cope with that, what it means. I think it allows us to understand ourselves better and raises us up.